Hi, and welcome back to the channel. This time we're taking a look at the latest purchase in the handyman at home household. It's the Hoover HL4 Upright Vacuum Cleaner. The question is, does it soak? Before we look in detail at the Hoover HL4, why did we buy it? Well, our previous 3 corded vacuum cleaners have all been similar offerings from Vax, with the most recent being the Vax Airlift Steerable Pet Max, even though we don't have a pet. Over the years, we've found these to be pretty decent vacuum cleaners with good performance and reasonable pricing. Things we like about them are the manoeuvrability, powerful suction, extra long mains cord, and on the most recent, the lift-out design. They've generally given good service, although it's worth noting that the last one only lasted 3 years before the motor burnt out. When looking for a replacement this time around then, rather than just buying the same again, we thought we'd at least consider some other options, and having seen various positive reviews of the Hoover HL4, put this on the list. Whilst we've had a Dyson V7 trigger for a few years, which has been excellent, moving to cordless for our main vacuum cleaner just wasn't an option for us. Mainly this is down to the stick-like design, which puts all the weight in the hand, and if I'm honest, just looks a bit vulnerable to damage from over-enthusiastic vacuuming. And although cordless battery performance has certainly come on in leaps and bounds in recent years, I still have a preference for a corded vacuum. Finally, whilst I know lots of other companies have cordless offerings, I'm afraid we'd never buy another Dyson again, as we consider them vastly overpriced and, I'm sorry, but I just don't care for James Dyson at all. So, it was going to be another corded upright for us, and after a bit of online searching and a trip to Curry's, our shortlist came down to something from Shark, the same again from Vax, or one of the Hoover HL4 or HL5 offerings. Although both of our daughters have Shark uprights, whenever I've had occasion to use them, they've always felt bulky and heavy, so out they went. Stick with the Vax then, or go with the HL4. We'd ruled out the HL5 as it was more expensive and also a little heavier. In the end, we decided to give the HL4 Home a go, mainly because it was just that bit lighter than the Vax, 5 kilos as compared to 6.2. It also comes with a 3-year warranty as compared to the Vax's, which is 2 years. So, decision made, what do we think? So, what's in the box? Well, let's start with the box itself. Completely recyclable, cardboard, no glossy printing, just plain cardboard box, does the job. Internal packaging, again, all recyclable cardboard. All of the bags for the individual items, paper bags, not a sight of a plastic bag anywhere. That's really good. Hoover need to be congratulated for that. Okay, enough about the boxes. What about the Hoover? Well, we have the main, I call it the base unit, I guess, with the roller brush at the front and the motor. Then we've got the dust collector come cyclone. I tend to call this a handle, but I think sometimes they call it a wand, Harry Potter style maybe. Flexible hose and the obligatory crevice tool. Not much really, is there, for your £199? We'll come back to that later. So how do we put it together? Well, the first thing is to take the dustbin, come cyclone, place it on there, red button, clip straight in, very easy. Then the handle or wand, depending what you want to call it, in the top. Let's turn it round. Take our flexible hose, one end in here, clip home, one end in the top, clip home. Take your crevice tool and there's a handy little place here just to store it. And that's it, assembled. Really is very easy. No screwdrivers needed or anything. It's certainly come on since the old days when you needed a positive screwdriver to put in about half a dozen screws. So, taking it apart, not that you should need to, take the dust bin off, red button, straight off, really easy. Let's turn it round, crevice tool off. Let's take the hose off. Got a little springy plastic clip there. Same with the top fastening. Press the red lever in, wand up, and it's apart. It really could not be any easier. So again, I'd give them top marks for that. Taking a closer look at the controls, you've got one single switch which has got 3 positions: off, hard floor and carpet. So off, hard floor and carpet. Okay, let's unwind the cable. Just place your foot on the roller assembly, pull back. We've now got the reclined mode, and we can turn left, you can turn right, straight ahead. Really nice and light. A little bit of a squeak there. So let's see what it looks like when it's working. Onto carpet. You've seen the 2 little lights come on down at the bottom. How easy is it to empty the dust out? Well, I don't usually use a biscuit tub, but for the purposes of demonstration, lift the dustbin off, and at the rear there's a grey clip. Just press that, and dust falls out pretty straightforward. Bit of a tap, press it closed, make sure you hear it click. Make sure you just give it that little bit of extra push to make sure it clips closed. You can lift the lid, again, push the grey clip, opens without any problem. If you want to give it a proper clean inside, again, make sure you give it that little bit of extra. It doesn't require force, but a little bit of extra just to make sure that the grey clips close, because particularly with the lid, you can sort of like think you've closed it, but the clip hasn't seated properly. So just a little bit more and it will close. Same with this one. Just make sure it clicks closed. That's it. Sure, you don't want to see the dust from the household, but that's fairly straightforward. The filter here, that comes out, can be cleaned, I presume, but it's relatively new, so we're not going to touch that. Put it back on. We're done, ready to go, do some more. To use the crevice tool accessory, there are a couple of options. The first one is to release the wand. So we take that out. Take the crevice tool off its storage place. Push that on, and we can now use it in the normal manner. If we don't want the full length, we can again release the upper grey clip and just put the crevice tool directly on the handle, which means, I don't know, if you're already on your hands and knees, maybe makes it slightly easier. Just while we're here, we'll have a look at the suction control. So this is built into the handle and basically has 2 settings. Forward is max and reverse is min. So when it's in the reverse position, you can see sort of like a small grill or set of perforations. So let's take it off and put it back in. The alternate way of using with the accessories is to release the whole body. So press in the lower clip, it lifts straight off. Now you can do without the brush roller assembly, and you've just got the Hoover itself. So with it like that, again, you need to release the handle, put your tool on, and off you go. Obviously it still needs to be plugged in, but that gives you the ability to move around the house. Should get that spider without carting the lower part of the vacuum with you. So, nozzle back off, put it in, get your wheels straight on. It really is quite simple actually. Lift off, back on, lift out, back in, out, plug in. There's been some thought given to making these easy to operate. I think that's pretty good. Let's put the nozzle back on. So the brush roller has this leading edge or diamond type pattern of brushes compared to some of the vacuums from a few years ago. This is supposed to prevent hair from getting twisted up. I don't know how effective it will be, but I've seen this feature on one or two other vacuums. Obviously I've got it switched off at the moment and just rotating it around so you can see the effect. Anyway, that's the anti-twist feature. To remove the lower filter, we just press the red clip in. That whole cover comes off, and then the orange filter comes out fairly easily. I presume this is not serviceable, i.e. you can't wash this. I haven't checked the instructions, but I presume you just buy another one of these if and when you need to. It seems to be all molded together, but you put it in like so, get the cover, line it up, clip it closed. One thing I have noticed is when you have the Hoover in the recline position to get perhaps underneath the edge of a bed, I've noticed on one of the beds in our house, the height of this just goes underneath the lower edge of the side of the bed. And depending, if you just have it a touch higher, which is quite easy to do, I've found that it's quite possible to knock that catch in, and then when you pull the Hoover out, that pops off. So a little bit of care is needed, certainly in our house, to avoid that happening. As I say, it's if you have it very reclined, it doesn't happen, but just at a certain angle, the head will still go under the bed, but the edge side of the bed, the wooden strut, if you like, running along the bed, just presses that in, and the cover comes off. It's a little bit frustrating. So maybe the Hoover guys, you think of a different solution, maybe put it on the side there, which would be less prone to being knocked. But that's something very, very specific. Now, if I'm honest, I thought this whole floppy hose thing would actually annoy me, but in practice it doesn't. It's just got used to it. The previous vacs didn't have this. The hoses were more at the bottom end of the vacuum, and so this is the first time I've had a vacuum with this arrangement. But as I say, in practice it doesn't actually annoy me. Just a couple of other points while we're looking at things. What do I like and what don't I like? So I guess you'd call it the head where the roller is. It's slightly narrower than the vacuum we've had up until recently. Well, actually, we've had about 3 airlift type vacuums. It's a slightly narrower head, and because it's narrower, it goes into a few more places, particularly around the side of the toilet. It's just one of those things. It was very frustrating with the vacs that it wouldn't fit in the gap. So big tick in the box for me. I do like the lights. They're more effective than the ones on the vacs. Now I'm referring to a vacs that was bought 3 years ago, so the latest models may well have changed, but I can only compare against what I know. Now, I'm not suggesting you hoover in the dark, but the lights are quite effective. What else do I like? It's lighter. Now, what's one of the reasons we went for this? I mean, I'll cover all of the reasons perhaps in a separate segment of the video, but just while I'm here, it is lighter than the VAX, and that was one of the reasons we found this attractive, because my wife was finding the VAX a little bit heavy to maneuver around. So I guess there are compromises. I mean, you could say it feels a little bit cheaper than the VAX, although it actually cost a lot more. So the question I asked at the start of the video was, does it suck? Well, clearly it sucks, it works. Comparing it to the VAX, I'd say there's slightly less suction. I don't know how you measure that, but what I can tell is how it feels when you're hoovering on a carpet. Previous VAX, you could really see, it was very visible where the hoover had been. There was a real change in the orientation of the pile of the carpet, so you could tell where you'd hoovered. Much less so with this. Now that makes it actually easier to use, perhaps because there is less suction, it's easier to push along. So double-edged sword maybe, but I don't think it sucks as well as the previous VAX that we had. Having said that, as you saw when I emptied the dustbin, it cleans very effectively. As so far, I've no complaints in that regard, but I would say that it's maybe not quite as powerful suction-wise as the previous VAX that we had. Price-wise, there is a big difference. As I said, this cost us £199, bought in June 2024. Had a quick look on the VAX website. I'll throw up the model that I'm looking at, which is the nearest compatible to the one we used to have. And I think that's retailing at about 129. So there's a big price difference. Do I think that price difference is justified? Probably not. I think it's a little bit expensive, but am I happy with it? Am I happy with the purchase? Yes, I think so. I mean, time will tell how well it performs and how reliable it is. It comes with a 3-year warranty, the VAX with a 2-year warranty. Having said that, I got 3 years out of the previous VAX before the motor windings went. Seems to be a bit of a common occurrence, having had a lawnmower with a similar problem. Maybe they just don't make electric motors like they used to. But anyway, that's by the by. So yes, I'm happy with the purchase. I think it is a little bit overpriced, but it meets our requirements, and so far, yeah, it's pretty good. So we bought it online, direct from Hoover. I mean, clearly you can buy it from a whole host of places, Currys. I don't know whether AO.com do it, but it's available quite widely. But one of the benefits of ordering it directly from Hoover was that this car detailing kit came with it as a free add-on. It seems to comprise a number of accessories that clip onto the hose for getting into all those little nuts and crannies in your car. Now, I don't know about you, but the state of my car, probably this is would wear out by the time I clean my car. But it's a nice thing to have. Cost nothing, so I may get some use from it. But as I say, I think there are more fundamental cleaning tasks to take place on my handy car before we let loose with this. So that's the car detailing kit that came free when we ordered the vacuum directly from Hoover. Okay, well, there you go. Those are my views on the Hoover HL4 Home Upright Vacuum. Thanks as always for watching. I hope you found it of interest. Please do consider subscribing and hit the like button, as that helps me reach a wider audience. Hope to see you on the next one. Cheers.